Now the time has come to take a look at one of the power factions. All the Goths are power factions in my opinion, second only to the Eastern Roman Empire. Indeed, all factions with a Germanic roster, and they are many, have very strong options available to them. The Gothic General is a very tanky general's unit. He has a sword, not a spear. Not quite as good as cavalry as some of the other generals' options, but definitely a strong general to bring. Also very useful to have a mobile general that can run around the battlefield. They have the standard spear lineup of Levy, better armor and health on the Germanic spears, and then the Germanic spearmasters, both precursors, headhunt, and a decent amount of armor. For pikes, they have Germanic pikes and Gothic levy. These guys cost the same. They are about the same in terms of combatability, not a huge amount of difference between them. The Gothic pike gets a bit of armor, gets a bit of health, a slightly higher melee attack. Not a great pike unit, but a bit more sturdy than the Gothic levy and the Germanic pikes. We have the noble Germanic swords, tanky sword unit, good in shield wall. They are also disciplined. The Gothic Folksmen, they can do a lot of damage on the charge, but they are very, very vulnerable to missiles, cavalry, precursors. Basically anything that touches these guys will kill them due to their 0 armor, which means that every hit is going to do 100% of its damage against these guys, and with a melee defense of 10, they're going to get hit a lot. Gothic Warband, ridiculous charge bonus for the price, ridiculous melee attack, just amazing offensive stats on these guys. They have a decent amount of melee defense, their armor isn't great, their morale isn't great, but it's okay. So if you can protect these guys from cavalry and from missiles, they can dish out a lot of hurt to enemy infantry. The same with the Gothic Palatina defectors. They don't have a good missile bulk chance, but they do have the attacking testudo ability. Increases their attack against infantry, but these guys are kind of special because they have a very high melee attack and a good charge bonus. So also a very solid unit. The Thracian Warriors are better than the Folksmen at everything. Charge bonus of 87, 56 melee damage, a high amount of armor piercing, but still defensively these units will die very, very quickly. It can be useful to have them behind a pike screen and charge them out at enemy infantry, or indeed charge them into engagements where there's enemy cavalry, because even cavalry is going to take a beating from these charges. They have rapid advance, which boosts their speed significantly. Then they have headhunt, which enables them to stay in the fight just a little longer, 30 seconds longer. Thracian Oathsworns are beefed up Thracians with high morale and the scare ability. They are also disciplined and have rapid advance. In my opinion, way too expensive for what they can do. I would much rather have 2 Gothic warbands in every single scenario than 1 Thracian Oathsworn. Germanic Band, Germanic Warband, don't bother. They have all the problems of single-handed axe units. You have Germanic bows, Germanic hunters. The Germanic archers are very good. The Gothic archers are not. I haven't checked the range of these guys in the database, but if it indeed is 150, I see absolutely no reason to bring these archers over the cheaper and better Germanic archers. They also have 35 missile damage, which is horrendously bad. The Germanic archers, super good. The elite Germanic archers, also good, but compared to the Germanic archers, I rarely find place in my roster for these guys. Jimana Crossbows, awesome damage potential. They die to anything and everything. Same with the Germanic slingers. They don't have an awesome damage potential, but they sort of have a marginal use because their projectiles slow down units, and they can do a lot of damage quickly to squishy units. The Visigothic slingers are super expensive. They only have 125 range. They will run out of ammunition very quickly and not worth it for the price at all. Completely useless skirmish unit, only 4 missiles, just no point in bringing them. The Visigoths have the standard lineup of Germanic Mounted Warband, Germanic Horse Typhali, and Noble Germanics. These two units are going to be your main melee cavalry units. Very strong units. Upgraded Germanic Horsemen are better than Noble Germanic Horsemen. It's well worth upgrading the Germanic Horsemen. It solves some of their morale problems. They will fatigue less quickly. They're already good melee attack, gets even better. It's a very good unit, very tanky. Germanic Lancers and Gothic Lancers. Gothic Lancers are very light, Germanics are medium. Gothic Lancers will still wreck infantry on the charge. They are very fast, ideal for flanking. But I must say I prefer the Germanic Lancers because they are cheaper. Because the Gothic Lancers, only 157 health, they're going to die very quickly. While you get a sturdier unit in terms of shock cavalry with the Germanic Lancers. Then we have the Noble Gothic Lancers. They are a decent Lancer unit, but I much prefer having Germanic Horsemen. For Skirmish Cavalry, we have 3 useless units and 1 horrendously useless unit. Now, the Giardiniera Cavalry is heavy skirmish, so it's decent at charging down enemy infantry. It has 57 armor, which is very good, 235 health, which is okayish, good morale, it's slow, and this is the main thing. This is why this unit is so damn useless. It has javelins, a lot of javelins. If this unit was able to fire all of its javelins with precision on enemy cavalry, it would wreck so many units. The problem is though that since it doesn't have Parthian shots, since it has a slow turn speed, and since it will be very difficult to even get in position to fire, this makes the Giardiniera Cavalry a completely useless unit, like indeed all skirmish cavalry units are, that cannot fire behind them, because they will get chased away by enemy cavalry. And not a single one of these units are cheaper than a Germanic horse, and a Germanic horse will defeat them all. They also die very easily to missiles. It's just not worth bringing skirmish cavalry at this point. I thought the Creative Assembly would have learned something. Skirmish cavalry didn't have Parthian shots, didn't have the ability to fire behind them in Rome 2 at release. Then they patched it in. People started using javelin cavalry, but they have patched out that ability, so it makes javelin cavalry useless. Now let's have a look at the Gothic units. You've no doubt seen most of these units before, but there are some cool looking dudes in this lineup of Goths. So here we go, turn around the guys. Okay, so over here we have the Guerrilla deployment units, Germanic Raiders. You've seen these units so many times before. Then we have the Germanic Archers, again. New unit, Gothic Palatina Defectors. Cool looking units. Thracian Oathsworns, of course, look badass, but in my opinion they have no place in competitive multiplayer. They are very expensive. Noble Gothic Lancers. Germanic Mounted Warband. Germanic Lancers. Giardiniera Cavalry. Very cool looking unit. Too bad they are completely useless. And then we have the Noble Germanic Horse. The different Pikes. Gothic Levy. Gothic Pikes. Germanic Pikes. Then we have the Gothic General. He is a menacing character. The Gothic Lancers. Typhali Cavalry. More ammo for these guys, please. Noble Germanic Swords. Germanic Crossbows. The Coffin Lid Shields of the Gothic Warband. Very cool unit. The Thracian Warriors, another very cool unit. I think a lot of the unit design has improved from Rome 2 to Attila. Units look a lot less silly. There are a lot less silly colors going around. This color palette is something I really like. Germanic Spears, Germanic Spear Masters, and it also makes the color that is actually there. It makes it stand out more, like the shields become very striking when the rest of the unit is in earthen tones, so I quite like that. Visually, Attila is miles better, dark and gritty. Rome 2 looked like a Candyland freak show, but this is much better. So I think those were the units. Now we'll take a look at a few builds with the Goths. It's going to be very similar to what you've seen from the other Goths with a few differences. Now, I always like bringing the Gothic General, just for the mobility. He's very tanky. If you want to go for a Gothic balanced build, it's going to be very similar to the balanced build from the Vandals. Not a whole lot of difference between those builds. You're always going to want some cavalry. So you can bring 6 Germanic horse. I would prefer 6 Germanic horse. Or you could, if you want to go heavy on the infantry, you could bring 6 of these Gothic Warband, or you can even bring 5 Gothic Warband and 5 Germanic horse. Then you have the funds left for Germanic Lancer. A fun and diverse build that can be used in a multitude of ways. If we're going to go balls out competitive with the Goths, I'm just going to say that I'm going to bring 6 gold Germanic horsemen. I'm probably also going to bring a few noble Germanic horsemen. Might just run them vanilla, or have Germanic Lancers. Then a few, something like 5 Gothic Warband if you don't want any skirmish support. If you do want some skirmish support, which you absolutely can have, since you have enough cavalry to protect them, you can bring something like this. Or ideally, I would want to take out the archers, upgrade the crap out of my army, and take a look at different ways I could upgrade my army. For example, going for cheaper noble Germanics, and then see if I can make all my melee cavalry gold. Never upgrade shock cavalry. It's a complete waste. Maybe a single chevron, but not really. And that's it really for the Visigoths. The Goths are strong in Attila, both the Ostrogoths and the Visigoths. Everything that has Germanic horse and noble Germanic swords and cheap shock cavalry is going to be forced to be reckoned with on the battlefield. It's only made worse by the fact that they have this awesome infantry lineup and very good skirmishers. Strength and honor.